Hey, coaches, welcome to another presentation for the Football Scoop Online Clinic. Today, we've got Wheaton, defensive coordinator and former Football Scoop Coordinator of the Year finalist, CJ Nightingale, to join us to talk about keys to winning first and second down so you can control third down. Coach Nightingale, all yours, man.
All right. Thanks, Doug. I appreciate it. I've enjoyed watching these presentations as we've seen them now for about 2 weeks, and it's just exciting to hear from different coaches and different perspectives, whether it's scheme, whether it's technique, whether it's just overall philosophy. So I'm excited to be able to talk some ball with everyone. My contact information, I'm very, very open to sharing stuff. I'm a firm believer that nothing is new. I'm not creating anything. We didn't do anything unique at Wheaton. We just feel like what we did do was very, very successful. And so I'm willing to share or help out in any way I can. Kind of like Coach Samuels talked about, we had a very successful defense this past year, and that kind of led to the nomination. But here's the stats that kind of back that up on what we do as a defense. And it helps when you have those type of guys down there with Dallas McCray, Patrick O'Connell, Spencer Rollin, and Ryan Swartz. Those are the guys that make it, right? Players make plays for you. It's our job to put them in position to be successful. And when they are in those positions, they make you look really, really stinking good. And so I'm excited to have 3 of those 4 guys coming back this year. Kind of the topics Coach Samuels talked about: winning first and second down to control third down. And I truly believe that every coordinator wants to do this and would say that this is a goal of theirs. But how you go about it can be very, very beneficial in preparation for that. I think there was 3 things I really wanted to talk about: was the culture of the defense, what your base calls are, and being creative when you are in a position of control. And as I was thinking through that, it came to my mind that the reason that we want to talk about these 3 things is because the offense is in control, right? The game is designed for the offense to be successful. That's the reality of it. Whether it's with rules, whether it's with tempo, whether it's with whatever the case may be, the offense is in control. And so for us to be able to combat that, we really want to develop culture, have a great rep system with our base calls, and then obviously be creative when we have an opportunity to be in control. So those are the kind of the 4 areas that we'll talk through today. Guys, we know it, whether it's personnel, formations, motions, plays, the offense has control of the game, especially on first and second down. They can dictate a lot. Most of the time, it's with their personnel groupings or formation, shifts, motion, matchups, whatever they can do to try to have the chalk last. We know that. I'm not going to ignore that fact. I'm not going to try to match personnel with personnel or try to have a perfect call. And early in my career, and I was fortunate enough to be around a lot of great guys that helped me understand this, there's no such thing as a perfect call. So we need to stop trying to make a perfect call or match everything perfectly. And so for me, I tell our guys all the time, let's be gap sound, let's set an edge, let's keep the cap on. Nothing revolutionary, but we have to be willing to do that. I think that's something that I was fortunate enough to play around coaches who thought that, and then work with coaches who thought that too. So it's ingrained in me now to understand that if we can do these 3 things by being gap sound, setting an edge, and keeping the cap on, you're going to have a chance at being successful. And then I've added this note, because from my experience, and yes, I'm young, but from my experience, not many offensive coordinators or offenses in general are willing to be patient. Now, there are the few out there that are, and I'll talk on that, but we want to make an offense out discipline, out technique, and out effort us, right? Can they do that for a whole drive? Can they do that for a whole series? Can they do that for a whole game? Whatever. We don't believe they can. We feel like our discipline, technique, and effort will show up more consistently than an offense's will. Now, like I said, we did play against a lot of great offenses this year in the Division III level. And for sure, 2 of them are willing to out-discipline, out-technique, and out-effort you, right, in North Central and St. John. And for us as a defense, when we see offenses do that or are willing to do that, that's a lot of fun. Our guys want to match up against opponents that are willing to play with great discipline, technique, and effort. And may the best man win. We were fortunate enough with North Central to come out on top. Obviously, our playoff game was a little bit different with St. John's, but those are the fun games when we have an offense that is willing to be disciplined, technique, and have effort throughout it. So kind of going into the culture. Now, I love this kind of topic because I do believe that per side of the ball has to have a culture. Now, it has to match the head coach's culture. And fortunate for me, as I came back to Wheaton, I knew the culture of Wheaton. I played here. Coach Swider had it ingrained in all of us. But he also gave me the freedom to expand on that culture and to match that culture. And I also came into a situation where the previous two coordinators are guys that I played with and guys that I've worked with and know really, really well. So the players that I was coming into were already developed with this foundation of discipline, technique, and effort. And my personality kind of expanded on it a little bit, but they were ingrained in it. And so I believe that we as coaches naturally do the discipline and the technique piece really well. I think we teach what they're supposed to do, and I think we teach how they're supposed to do it really, really well. The why piece, and we hear it all the time now, is our kids are asking why? Why do we do this? We have to be great teachers at explaining why they do what they do effort-wise. Now, that could be holistically. Why does the front four need to do their assignments for the box linebackers? Why do the box linebackers and the overhang need to do their assignments for the back four? Right? All those pieces fit together so that it works like 111, so everyone's doing their job. But the other thing that I kind of dive into with effort is, why do you do it physically, right? Why do you do this with extreme focused intensity? And for us, it's really, really simple. We tell them, you love Jesus. Jesus died for you. You need to go all out with your effort, right? The other piece is you love your brother. You love your brother next to you. Don't let that person down. And so we will harp on the effort piece, not only holistically with the teaching approach, but also through the understanding that it's Jesus, it's the brother next to you. And at a Christian school, we're having the opportunity to do that really well. But I think that applies at any college, and understanding that there is a bigger picture and a bigger reason why you give your effort every single play. And then the last piece is fight. Defensively, if you fight like crazy every single play, it's going to give you a chance, right? You can make up a lot of mistakes if you're just playing with extreme effort and an extreme fight to the football. And I just really want to touch up on our guys and the understanding that it's worth it, right? It's worth it to chase down a guy that's 45, 50 yards downfield. Yes, you may tackle him on the 2-3 yard line, but it gives us a chance. It's worth it to do those things, right? It's worth it to just continue to pursue after the football, to continue to fight on a double team, to continue to just fight for the ball in the air. All these things are worth it, because in the end, you can look back on it and say, yeah, I gave everything I had. And so those are kind of the culture pieces that our guys have really bought into. And Coach Samuels and I kind of talked about it before we started. It's really shown with our guys. Our guys will really hit this hard out of the field. And that's encouraging to see, and really, really nice for our guys to really own this type of stuff. So I just kind of have a couple clips and how we teach it, right? We're breaking things down. This is us just working our pass drops. So again, being patient with all of this stuff. Our Coach Swider would say it all the time with us as coaches is, don't let your players get bored, right? Don't let them get bored. Make sure that they understand why they're doing what they're doing. All right. And so, yes, this looks like a simple pass drop concept with combo drills, which it is, but we will rep all this stuff in small, simple situations so that they can be fast when it comes big picture stuff. And so this is just our linebackers working a pass drop combo drill for us. All right. And then going into tackling circuits, right? Same deal, right? Understanding leverage, understanding who's supposed to be where, how it all fits up together. Obviously, this is just a simple buddy tackling drill, right? But our guys understanding coming to balance, understanding leverage. When you can do these things in small, simple situations and then apply it to the big picture on the field, it's awesome for our guys to see. And so that's something that, again, it's simple. They may get bored of it, but we got to continue to hound on why they do what they're doing. And so we continue to do this over and over and over again. We do these half line and pursuit drills every single Tuesday during the season. And our guys, what's encouraging about it is the effort piece, right? We practice effort, we practice leverage, we practice lane integrity, all those things that go into a sound defense. But when they do it every single Tuesday to the max of their ability, that's something that's encouraging. Dallas McCray is the Defensive Player of the Year for Division III football last year, and he busts his tail every single Tuesday on these drills, right? He understands that it's going to make him better, but that him doing this is also going to set the standard and the expectation for the younger guys who are watching him to do it. And so when we do these pursuit drills, whether it's half line or full line, our guys understand the importance of making sure that it is with ultimate, highest level that they can give. So I love the fact that our guys own this. I love the fact that we as coaches keep them accountable and hold them to it. And it's something that we really see on the film that shows up for us. So this is just culture. Nothing revolutionary. Our guys just wanting to do it. All right. So going into, I think, what is very, very important in winning first and second down on the field. It starts with your base calls. And yes, we're a 4-2-5 read quarters, and we're going to play a 3-match to show some 1-high stuff. But it doesn't matter what defense you are. You could be a 3-4, you could be a 3-stack, you could be a traditional 4-3. It doesn't matter what coverages you're running. You got to rep, right? So Tuesday and Wednesday for us are the biggest days, right? We're going to get 75 to 80 reps in during those team periods on those 2 days. So it doesn't matter what if it's Tuesday, Wednesday, Monday, Tuesday, whatever your first 2 days are of the week. I truly believe that you got to get reps, right? Whether this is through a tempo period, whether this is through different situations in terms of down and distance in first and second down, but making sure that you are repping the base calls. And so all our guys know that on Tuesday and Wednesday, they're just going to see our read quarters, our 3-match, and we're going to be in some type of 4-man front. And we're just going to rep it. Again, can't let them get bored. They need to understand, right, that this is what's going to make us money. Trust it. Another thing that I do usually add to these guys, especially the front and the linebackers and the D-line, is that, hey, you guys want to be creative. You want to get after it on third down, win on first and second down. Do these things really, really stinking well, right? We can be creative as coaches. We'll find the matchups for you guys to win on third down, but we can't do that if we're 3rd and 2 or 3rd and 1 or 3rd and 3. The offense still has control. So win first and second down by dominating these base calls so that we can then be creative later on. It's kind of the stats that kind of support what we were able to do is that we had 600 reps of first and second down plays this year, and 78% of them were a variation of our 4-man front in read quarters or 3-match. That's a high percentage of what we know offenses see us doing. And again, it goes back to, are you going to out-discipline, out-technique, out-effort us? All right. We believe that we are more disciplined, more technicians, or better technicians, and we're going to play with better effort than you will. And we trust that we're not going to hide that fact of us. 11% are 5 or 6-man pressures. And I would even dive in deeper in saying that it's probably only 1 or 2% of 6-man pressures. I put it down there when you decide to change it up, be simple and sound. I like 5-man pressures a lot. And so it's going to be a really, really gap sound 5-man pressure that we are going to have an edge and have a cap on. So I bet you that 11% is more 5-man pressures than 6-man. And then the rest is some type of cover 1 variation. We felt very successful, right? 66% win rate, 30 yards or less on those plays is kind of how we determined it. But it was very cool to see our guys own this. And so I kind of just wanted to go through and just kind of talk about our guys doing that, right? Nothing really revolutionary here. We'll go to the tight, but you can see that in this call and box for us, our linebackers are just doing their jobs. Our D-line is doing their jobs. We're fitting up correctly, right? We get some type of power read to the boundary side here. Our defensive end understands that he has to be the inside threat on the movement, and that also naturally takes him to spill the guard pulling, right? Because of the movement that we have, the Mike linebacker is able to just naturally work over the top, which is awesome to see. The Will linebacker understands that he is going to be the C-gap player. So he is actually free in this movement, but that he has to stay outside of the guard that's pulling. And so we do this rep it, so that when it comes game time, they're playing really fast and everyone's doing their job. Same type of deal. I love this one again because we're going to see it from this tight view. Number 89 is getting red. Okay, this is North Central. This is the first play of the game. They're just running a little inside zone here to the field side. And again, we're running the same movement up front that we did the previous clip, but the difference is that Brock Rutter is reading the will linebacker to run some type of RPO concept to the boundary with the two receivers. The Will's in a great position. He is the C-gap player in this movement, right? So if Brock decides to keep it, he's the quarterback player. But you can see that he's in a great position, inside foot up. He could probably stay a little bit more square with his body, but he's in a good position if they do run the football to come downhill on the quarterback, if they throw it, to be able to work underneath whatever concepts outside to the field. And then we just pursue the football like crazy. So just trusting, right? Wyatt Lee, our outside linebacker there, is trusting the field side, the front side of the play to do their job, right? Discipline, technique, effort over and over and over again on this first and second down plays. Right. This one doesn't look like anything. This is actually a 3-yard gain. And so again, I claim this as a win for us, right? They're running a little snag concept out to the field, bringing Ethan Greenfield out of the backfield and trying to high-low our corner a little bit with the corner. Well, we do a great job midpointing. And the thing that I told Robbie Swartz after this play when we came to the sideline was like, yeah, it looked like an ugly tackle, Robbie. You kind of got ran over a little bit by a kid who's 40 pounds heavier than you, but you got the job done. I think that's very, very important to telling our kids is that you did your job. Keep doing your job, right? If they're going to run these type of concepts up and down the field the whole game, I feel very confident in our ability to keep everything in front of us and come up and make a tackle, and we do a great job at that. So this is a win, right? 2nd and 10, a 3-yard gain. Now it's 3rd and 7. Again, we're in a position to be successful and control what the offense can and can't do. Another one. Again, this is the same similar concept that we saw earlier. We'll go to the tight, where they're running an inside zone to the field, and they're going to read the will linebacker again. And the same situation as the first play that we saw against North Central. The Will's in a great position, inside foot up, a little more square this time. You can see Brock is clearly reading him to throw the RPO, hands it off, and we're gapped up front in the field, and we do a great job. So guys, just again, doing their job really, really stinking well. I love this one. And so teams starting to understand that, yeah, we're a read quarters team, right? Especially if you see our 2 highs like this. So they're going to try to, whether it's a jet motion, some type of quick motion in this picture to get to empty. Our linebackers do a fantastic job communicating all of this. And you can see right here, we're underneath the areas that we need. Curl flat, hook curl, and we're trusting, again, the corners and the safeties to do their job in the concept. So Brock goes to the boundary side. Our will linebacker is walling off number 2, doing a good job, and we're trusting the corner and the safety to drive on the second slant. Just awesome. Not many people see this, outside of football, but it all starts with the communication from the mic to the Sam and making sure that we're getting everything to the field all covered up wise. And then the boundary just does their job with the double slant concept. So again, just discipline, technique, and effort over and over again. Right. I love this one because of the fact that you have 7 guys. The front 4 do a great job, obviously, with the pass rush, but you have the back 7 doing a great job with their assignments, right? We're playing a little bit more of a hard quarters up top, and our corner just wins, right? Corner's one-on-one with that number 1 receiver, and he's playing a good slide technique, staying on top of the route. And even though it's all verticals, he wins. He's that top shoulder player. Our safeties are doing a good job staying on top of number 2. And our field corner does a great job breaking on this comeback by number 1. But you see that, and the linebackers are all underneath droppers, right? We're in a true quarters concept, and there's really nowhere for the quarterback to throw the football. It's just them trusting those pass drops that we work in those combo situations that I showed earlier, right? We do half line, we do combos, we do something really, really simple, and then it's applying it to the big picture when you come on game day. Again, another one. This picture actually, it's twins. They got a little sniffer here in the backfield and a nub tight end. And so this puts our small corner as the force player, which typically don't want to do when you have this type of picture. But we have it because we trust him. He got really, really stinking good after the Illinois Wesleyan game at doing this. All right. And he did it just by making sure his outside arm stayed free, and he played with great pad level. Right. But you can see from this wide view that the linebackers are scraping really, really well over the top with the pulling guard and the fullback coming inside out to try to wrap up into the hole. But what you don't see from the wide is what you see from the tight, right? Blaine Hawkins is a really good quarterback at Central. He was their player of the year this past year, and he's going to be a 4-year starter going into his senior year this year, right? Not many people see that. This is actually an RPO. He is reading our overhang, our Sam. You can see him kind of getting into the picture. And so we see the box doing their job, really thinking well with the guard pulling, right? But then you see Luke Amicha, our young Sam here, being in a great position as the overhang, reading the RPO, realizes it's run, and then he fits back into the picture. Again, Luke understanding that he is being read in this picture of the RPO, understanding that he has help from the corner and safety outside on the concept, but that he needs to fit back up inside into the B gap after the ball is handed off, and he does a good job of that right here in this picture, and you can see him start scraping back inside. It's really, really nice by Luke in that picture. All right, against St. John's, right? So we talked about North Central willing to be patient. St. John's was the same way. Jackson Erdman and Brock Rutter were the two best quarterbacks in Division III football this past year. We had to play both of them. And so you see this picture, again, we kind of broke it down with that pass drop rule. Well, we have the exact same concept that we worked day one, right? All it is just smash you into the field. And then in the boundary, they're working some type of levels concept with a wheel. And so the field side does a great job communicating and matching up with our smash like we always do in our quarters read. And then the Mike and the Will, what is awesome about this is communicating the back coming out and the Will matching 3 up the sideline as a wheel route. They do a great job with that. It's something that it takes a lot of reps in, right? And so not only do we rep all of that stuff on Tuesday and Wednesday, but we make sure we take a 10-minute period to rep all of our quarters reads with our linebackers. On Wednesday, we rep all of our 3-match reads with the linebackers. And so they see as a back 7 how it all fits up together. And we knew that this concept eventually was going to come from St. John, and it was exciting to see them match up to it early in the game. And obviously that helps the pressure, or helps the 4-man rush get there. Same deal. It goes back to the pass drops. Don't let your kids get bored during those pass drops or during those simple drills, right? Because they show up in the game. They show up in the game. They show up in the game. And here we just got, a flat fade concept to the boundary, and we kind of have what we call a dog concept or a deep out to the field. And so our linebackers are doing a great job working their progressions. Our safeties and corners are doing a great job with their progression. And the Mike linebacker, who is your hook curl dropper working off the 3, yeah, we rally up to a 2-yard gain. So now it's 2nd and 8, and we feel like we're still ahead of the sticks here for us in a position to be successful. All right, I love this one because of 2 things. Again, our corner has to be the force player down here, which he got really, really good at it as the year progressed. We are doing something unique with the coverage, and our guys saw this formation and got us into the appropriate check. We knew that they only liked running 2 or 3 plays out of it, and so we felt really good with the coverage check. And you can see our safety up to the field buzzing down because he's getting into the right coverage. All right, and so he's going to be our force player. Our linebacker is scraping over the top because of the fact that the guard's pulling on this counter. And then you got to have a dude that just plays with fanatical effort, and that's what Dallas McCray does, right? They're down blocking him with the center, all right, and he is fighting like crazy, and he does a great job getting vertical on his fight, and obviously he wins the play by himself, right? But that's where we have discipline, technique, and effort on all 3 levels. Discipline with the coverage, technique with the linebackers scraping, and just fanatical effort by our 3 technique here on the down block. When you can put all 3 of those things together, you're going to have a lot of success. And again, I know I'm repeating myself, but it's just so important, right? Our linebackers are doing a great job on pass drops. Our DBs are staying on top of route, right? And it allows our front 4 to just continue, right? We do a great job with the contained rusher from our defensive end to the field, and they just effort to the football, right? This offensive line, people that know Division III football know this, but, the tackle on our right side right there, Ben Barch, he's projected to be a a mid-round draft pick. Jackson Erdman was as good of a player, and this offensive line was really, really stout. And so for our guys to be able to just play with fanatical effort over and over and over again, it's huge for us. And this is first down. It sets us up in a great position. Pass drops, again, I know I'm repeating myself, but guys, it's just that important to simplify your drills so that you can see it on the film on game day. And our will linebacker understands his rules really, really well and where his help is, right? He's working off the back. The back goes out, and he knows he has flat help from the corner in this coverage, right? So he looks back inside, and that's the best receiver in Division III football, and he's aware of him trying to come back across, and obviously incomplete pass and gets a hit on him. But our guys, again, just doing their job with discipline, technique, and effort. This play, I love. I'm going to stop it and talk a little bit. So it's 2nd and 6, and the previous play, our will linebacker, number 89, got banged up a little bit. So we had to throw in our next linebacker. And so Nate Gers is here at the will linebacker. Again, we don't just rep this stuff with our ones. We make sure our twos get all these reps as well, or as many as we can do. And so this is the first play that Nate Gers is in, and he does exactly what he's supposed to do, right? In this coverage, he is a hook curl coverage dropper, right? He would match a back if the back released, but he is exactly in that hook curl window underneath number 2. It's just fantastic to see that our young guys, our backups, understand their job, their assignment, and what they're due, how they're supposed to do it, as well as our starters do. When you have guys like that, that gives you a lot of trust as a team. Now, we get the sack, but the reason, and I shared this with our guys on Good Ball on Monday after this game, it's like, Nate Gers, you did this for us. If you don't do your job as well as you're supposed to do it, Dallas McCray doesn't have an opportunity for the sack, right? Ryan Swartz, if you don't do your job in matching the running back, we don't have a chance to get the 4-man rush there, right? So it's just something that you have to not only harp on, but encourage, right? Encourage these guys when they do it really, really stinking well. And Nate Gers did that for us all year when he stepped in, whether it was at the will or the Sam position for us. All right, this is a great one. So the coverage that we're calling here allows our safety to be working off of number 2, but because of the jet motion, his assignment is always to work off of number 2, and it essentially becomes the opposite back. So these 3 guys, and I'm circling the safety and the box linebackers, have to work kind of like a string together, right? This is where, for us, our safeties have to understand that they are a part of the fit, the run fit in some way, shape, or form, right? So you can see them. He's communicating it pre-snap, which is awesome to see. He's pointing it and communicating, and that's why our Mike is getting out fast, right? Our Will's going to replace the Mike. The safety who's coming down is going to replace the Will. The Mike's assignment is to match the first guy out. The safety, you can see it from the tight, does a really good job of that as he's coming down. He's ready to replace the Will as the Will's replacing the Mike. We can see that as they're scraping over the top. Our safety just has fantastic instinct, realizing that the RPO is going back out to number 1. Boom, he triggers and just makes a play before the lineman can climb to him. It's just an unbelievable, it's encouraging on the sideline. I remember myself and Coach Pete just being just fired up, seeing how we rep this type of concept all week with our guys and then putting it together on the field. Caden Sigler obviously has great instincts and makes this play one-on-one, but it's all those guys trusting it. It's our will linebacker trusting the safety to replace him. It's the Mike trusting the will to replace him. It's great stuff. And then again, this is the same type of situation. Now our Sam 16 is actually working it with the Mike and the will. So he will have to be replaced. And you can see that here with this concept. It allows the will to just scrape fast over the top, the Mike to replace the will, and the Sam is replacing the Mike because of who his number 2 is for the Sam, which is the running back who ends up getting the pitch here on this play. And so them all trusting each other to do their job. It's really, really, really special. Again, RPOs, you see the Sam, you see our safety rolling down and doing their job, but it starts with our defensive end, right? He's being read. he's our sit player in this front for us. And River does a fantastic job. He's replacing, he's staying square, right? He's forcing Brock to make a decision. All right, Brock, if he hands it off, now he's going to be the quarterback player. If he keeps it, he's still the quarterback player, and he's trusting the safeties and the Sam to take care of the RPO. It's just awesome, right? We got a bunch of guys doing their job, a bunch of guys trusting the guy next to him. All right, this is just discipline, technique, and effort over and over and over again. Incomplete pass, but it's our guys doing what they're supposed to do. And again, I know it's kind of repetitive, but it's just who we are. You see it in the front, the guys doing their job, our corner being the force player, coming down, staying square, right? Eyes in a good position if it is potentially boot, right? And then we're just winning. You see Jake Holiday or usually who's our nose winning on this double team, splitting the double team, and then obviously coming back on the play. It's awesome to see our linebackers playing fast. And we have an RPO concept out to the field side. A lot of what WashU did was pre-snap, so they were running a bubble, and our safeties and linebackers are taking care of that to the field. Right? Almost the exact same play, and our corner just doing his job and making a tackle, keeping his outside arm free. It's just great to see from our guys. I love this one. Again, understanding. We knew that they love to go quads, so they're actually unbalanced quads. Our linebackers communicating and communicating the motion and then matching up on the new appropriate guy. And when you have the discipline of Ryan Swartz and the technique of Ryan Swartz on this pass drop, that's why he's as good of a Mike linebacker in Division III football. And then he trusts, obviously, the Will linebacker to replace his assignment. It's really, really good stuff. This one I put on here because this is at the end of the game, and we had some of our young guys in. And Caleb Egbert, he knows where our call is. Right? We wanted to check for this into the boundary with this formation, and he's the hard squat corner, and he takes his shot and he makes a play. Right? This is just the culture piece, right? Them knowing what to do, how to do, and why they're doing it. And he just beats that wide receiver and makes a 2-yard loss on a little bubble screen for the offense. And it's just great to see. This was his first play in the game, in the playoff game. Comes in and does his job right away. Same deal on this one. Again, young guys. Braden Anthony is actually the sit player. You watch it offensively, you probably think that the quarterback decided too early to toss this on this little toss power read. But Braden does a fantastic job pursuing inside out after he's the sit player, realizing that the ball is gone, right? But he can do this because he's trusting the Sam to be the spill player. He's trusting the corner, who's actually our force player in this coverage. So everything is getting strung out. We bounced it with the Sam, right? He has to bubble it a little bit, and the corner setting the edge, and it allows Braden, after he sits and forces the pitch, to pursue inside out to the football, and it's awesome to see. Now, I share all that good stuff because that's who we are, right? 66% of what we do is our base, and we love it. But it doesn't always work. And so the reality is that if you miss discipline, if you miss technique, if you miss effort, you're going to have some big plays. And so here's some of those big plays, right? First of all, we're not aligned correctly. And so from the get-go, right, we have some young guys in, but we're not aligned correctly. They've been cracking us all day. So our Sam linebacker is worried about being cracked. You see him peek here as that wide receiver comes down. Well, the wide receiver doesn't crack him. And so now he's worried about something that's out of his control. And now the wide receiver's out, or the running back's out the gate, when the Sam linebacker on this outside veer should have been able to take care of this play. But because he is worried about something else, it's out the gate, 40-yard touchdown run. Longest run we gave up all year. All right. And it's all because of controllables. We did not play with great discipline. We did not play with great technique, and the effort wasn't there. All right. And so bad plays will happen if you miss out on one of the three. Well, we missed out on all three in this picture. All right. Same deal on this play here, right? Sometimes you're disciplined in your assignment, but you don't play with the right technique. So when this play is developing, everyone is doing what they're supposed to do except for one kid. One kid's not in the right position, and a 6'5" receiver gets over the top of us for a big play, right? Everyone has to do all three of those things: discipline, technique, and effort. You get one guy not doing it, then it's a big play, and obviously you can't do it against good teams like North Central. Same deal. Number 7, our free safety this year is the smartest kid that I've had the privilege of coaching, and he knew everything we were doing in the back 7 and got us aligned correctly about 75-80% of the time. In terms of, I just gave him freedom to make sure that he got us aligned versus the formation. Well, here he's too aggressive, right? He's the middle of the field player, and he dives on this bender, leaves the middle of the field post wide open, right? Even though our corner's in a great position, he kind of gets boxed out and the receiver catches it. And as you let this play go, Corey Kennedy knows it, right? He came off the field and he says, that's my fault. And he says it right here at the play. So again, one person not doing their job can really put you in a bad position. And so this is why we harp it. And we were in a winning position in 2nd and 12, but we gave up a big play because one guy didn't do their job. Same deal. This is the play that really cost us against St. John's. Right here, if we stop it, we're in a great position. They're running a stick concept and slant flat concept to the boundary. This is actually not designed to be a big shot. It ends up being a 54-yard touchdown because we don't do our job, right? We do a great job in this initial picture, but if you let it go, we lose our contained rusher. Right? So now after we miss a sack, Jackson Erdman's allowed to scramble a little bit. Now it's scramble drill. Now you got to cover your dude, right? What should have been quick game, and we're in a great position to win, turns into one guy losing contain, the Gallardi winner from 2 years ago, finding space and throws up a deep ball and they win the one-on-one, right? You got to be disciplined in your assignment. One dude is not disciplined, we're screwed. And so that's why it's so important for us to understand that it takes all three of those things for us to be successful as a defense. And I show that because I'm not naive. I understand that bad plays are going to happen. We just got to be diligent in those 3 areas of discipline, technique, and effort. This kind of leads to 3rd down now. And something that I think if you win 1st and 2nd down by being discipline, technique, and effort, you're going to be in a lot of positions where it is 3rd and 6, 3rd and 7, whether it's medium plus, to be creative. And what that could be 5 or 6 man pressures. That could be drop 8 coverages. However you want to be creative, but be creative. I think a lot of times I'm young, and so I don't know that much about football. There's guys that are way smarter than me. But sometimes I feel like we as coaches get so locked in and ingrained in that this is who we are and this is what we're going to do, regardless of the type of kids we have or the type of matchups that we have. I want to take advantage of those stuff. So I want us to be creative, whether that is with the pressures or the coverages. I want us to find the matchups, whether that is schematical matchups, personnel matchups, or just one-on-ones, whatever the case may be. I want to find those matchups and try to take advantage of it. And I kind of said it, let our players play, right? If you got a front 4 that can get after it, let those guys get after it. If you got coverage guys, let those guys cover. If you have something that you feel like you can take advantage of with protection, let's take advantage of it. For this to happen, you have to teach simple concepts so that it can be multiplied over different types of coverages or different types of schemes. So make sure that we're teaching simply so that we can be able to do this. And so you look at our 3rd down breakdown, it's much different than our 1st and 2nd down. We're going to be a variety of things. So it could be 4-man fronts with our read quarters. And we could be getting to that 4-man front in multiple ways. Could line up in it, could be in an odd front, bringing someone, but we're going to be in a variety of 4-man fronts and read quarters. It could be our our 3-over-3 fire zone. Again, this could be 3-man front, could be a 4-man front, could be a 5-man front, right? Whatever the case may be, it's going to be a 3-over-3 type fire zone concept. 6-man pressures, cover 0, could be a 3-over-2 fire zone, could be a cover 1 peel, different type of variations of coverages to match those 6-man pressures. and then 4-man fronts with 3-match, and then drop 8. I'll be honest with you. Game 5, our Sam linebacker tore his ACL, and it really kind of changed what we did on third downs. I would love us to be more balanced with all 5 of these. You can see that there's a drastic drop off after our 6-man pressures with the 3-match and the drop 8. And the reason I think that happened was because after game 5, we did a self-scout and we're pretty balanced. Whether that was me protecting our new starting Sam or just not having the confidence in him yet, it was probably a combination of 2. I drastically changed, and I want to make sure going forward that we're kind of balanced with all 5 of these kind of areas of things that we want to do on third down, but still be creative, have variety on third down. It obviously still worked out for us. We were able to win 75% of our third downs. Our offense was very dynamic and explosive this year, and so we wanted to get them the football as fast and as much as possible, and to win third down obviously was huge in that ability to do that. And then the other thing is, trust your preparation and let it loose. I was told this at a very early age. I was fortunate enough to play for, in my opinion, the best defensive coach I've ever been around, and John Swartz in Mendon, Michigan. And coach told me this at a very early age: have fun with it, just let it go. Right? Don't worry about it. If you get into a game, it's like, trust it, right? If you repped it all week, trust it and let it loose, right? Be creative and just go. And so I really kind of took that as an 18-year-old and really kept that in my mind, that now I'm in a position to do that, where let's be creative, make sure we're gapped up, make sure we have the edge, make sure we're covered correctly, and just go, let it loose. And so that's kind of what I'm hoping that we're able to continue to do. So I kind of broke it down. So here we are in a 3-man front, but we're getting to our quarter stuff, right? We brought that 4th man from the field here, our overhang, right? We add them to the 4-man pressure or the 4-man rush, right? So back half is just the same quarters, but because we're bringing a 4th guy from depth, it does add a different element for the protection up front. We have a little 2-man game on the backside of the overhang coming. So that obviously gives the O-line a little bit of fit. But the fact that nothing changes for us defensively, we've simplified things so well that the coverage knows that, hey, we're just playing our read quarters, right? The D-line, all they know is, oh, we're just playing the game up front. The offense sees multiple things in this picture. Could they be playing drop 8? Could they be bringing 4, 5, 6, right, from this type of position? So for us, it's simple. But for offenses, we're hoping that it obviously confuses them a little bit. Same deal, right? The 3-man pressure, same exact game. Are we bringing the Sam? Are we bringing drop 8? Or sorry, are we dropping coverage here? And we hadn't shown something like this yet, but we blitzed both the Mike and the Will. And typically we replace our box guy with the overhang. Usually he just slides back into the box. Again, I kind of talked about Corey Kennedy. Number 7 was the most instinctual, smartest guy I've been able to coach so far. And we actually replaced him. So we place our middle of the field safety into the box, and he becomes our kind of our hook curl player as the Mike linebacker in this picture in the 3-over-3 pressure. And so it's just really, really, really nice to have those type of kids that obviously once you simplify and teach them, that can be able to do this. So again, are we bringing the Sam? Are we bringing the Mike? Are we bringing the Will? Are we bringing multiple guys from this type of package? Same deal, same exact package, but instead of bringing the Mike and the Will, now we're bringing the Sam and the Will. If you notice, our safety, Corey Kennedy, is doing a different technique because he could be able to have the capability to do that, and he replaces the Sam. So the previous picture, he replaced the Mike. This picture, he's replacing the Sam, and we're just doing a great job. We overwhelm them. The offensive line actually thinks that it's more than 5. They actually have 6 guys in the pressure or in the protection, but because we're bringing from different levels and different areas, they're really not sure who to pick up. And again, we knew and felt like we could win with this pressure for this week. Against St. John's, we bring 6. So we've brought 4. We brought 5. Now we're bringing 6. Everyone's coming, and we're playing a 3/2 fire zone coverage. Again, so we just different types of pressures or different types of assignments based off of what we felt like we could get to that week. Obviously, we hit home really, really fast with this one. The Mike linebacker and the nose does a little twist here, and he comes free, and Erdman has to throw it away before taking the hit. So we feel really, really good with that. And then obviously our drop 8. So again, the same type of look. Are we bringing the Sam? The Sam does actually a good job kind of stepping in, potentially bringing him as the 4th guy, and then he drops into coverage, and we're doing a great job in the back half covering and allowing our 3-man rush to get to it. And so again, we want to mix it up. We want to be creative with these packages that we have on 3rd down. But for us to do it, we got to win 1st and 2nd down. So going into kind of the next phase is we're in our typical 4-man front. So are we playing our quarters? Are we playing our 3 match? Right here, we're playing a little bit of a combo here with the quarters and cover 3 to the boundary. But again, it's just trusting our guys. We're in control. We're playing fast, right? We decide to play coverage and allow our 4-man front to go, and they screen us, but our linebacker does a great job. He knows he can take his shot because we buzzed the safety down, and we kind of mixed it up on North Central a little bit. Instead of bringing pressure, we just played coverage here, where typically we do bring some pressure on 3rd and long. Same deal, right? The first half against St. John's, I brought too much pressure. And so at halftime, it was very, very well known and agreed upon that we needed to play more coverage against them. And so this is one of the first plays of the second half where we decided to just play with our 4-man rush and play coverage. And you can see from the type that we've given them the freedom to decide what game they want to move or want to use. So the boundary side, they're just playing a little ET stunt where they're just twisting. And then on the field side, we had 2 guys that just love to bull rush and to bully guys. And Dallas McCray and Patrick O'Connell do that, and Dow wins for us here in this picture. But you can see that Jake and River to the boundary side are just playing a little twist, and Jake does a good job of containing the rush so that it allows Dow to be able to push it vertically in the middle. And obviously Patrick collapses the pocket too from the field. We do a great job with coverage, but just giving these guys the freedom as well to mix it up on 3rd down in the front, especially because we felt like we had a great front 4 this year. All right, this one I show because it's 3rd and 3. To me, that's a situation where we're going to still play our base calls, right? So I'm treating it kind of like 1st and 2nd down, especially if it's in the field. And we do that. We play our 3 match stuff. So we're just playing our typical 1 high coverage. We're trusting the front 4 to get there. And our middle of the field safety, Corey Kennedy, fantastic play. One of the best plays that I've seen from a DB in my short coaching career. His range, his ability, his instincts to play the ball is unreal. And this was a big game changer to start the second half for us as well. Really, really created the momentum for us to get back into the game. But we're doing everything right. The team players are playing really, really well. Corners are doing their job in the front 4. I mean, Jackson can't step up into the pocket in this because our 2 interior guys, they have the freedom to go. They got a 2 rush. They can rush in 2 gaps, and so they can just go and they press it vertically, and Jackson can't step up into the pocket. So great job, though. Again, Augie, we're bringing some 5-man, different little look. We knew they loved to boot to the field. So our Sam actually is way too anxious. He should not be in that staggered stance, but he comes off the edge and forces the ball to be thrown really, really early in the boot. But the guys just doing their job. We got the Sam coming off the edge, the safeties matching up with the 1 high rotation. This one is huge. This was brand new. So this is Central. Again, being creative. We hadn't done any of what we did in this picture all year. This kid, Blaine Hawkins, was as dynamic of a runner as a quarterback that we saw all year. And so we knew that, all right, if we wanted to bring pressure, we still wanted the spy, because if we didn't get home, he was going to, get out the gate and get a first down. He did that a lot against Oshkosh in week 1 of the playoff. But so right here, we're playing some type of cover 1 spy concept here where we have to peel off the back. We kind of odd, but that's what we're doing with the defensive end. Well, the back motioned out, and we still wanted to keep the spy. So instead of the defensive ends running with the back motioning out, we just took our one high player and said, hey, you're going to match them. So after the motion, we are actually in some type of cover 0. We're in cover 0 with a spy, with a low hole player, if the quarterback stays in the pocket. And the pressure gets there with the extra man, but you can see that it's just straight cover 0. The safety actually ends up being a low hole player because of the tight end staying in protection. But trusting this concept, we hadn't shown it all year. This was the first third down of the game, and we win it by doing something we hadn't done all year. The Mike is spying. That's why he's kind of stepping up, waiting for Blaine to potentially slip through. Obviously, the pressure wins. Wyatt Lee, our will linebacker, wins his one-on-one with the tackle and guard there. It's just awesome. But it's just, again, being creative and trusting it, right? I'm sure there's some guys, and even myself at times, like, man, this is kind of a weird concept we're about to do. But trusting the players and trusting your preparation, and obviously it worked out for us against Central. And then this one, again, I'm going to show it from the tight. We mixed up our front. This is still a 4-man front. We mixed up our front, but the understanding that we're peeling off the back, and our Mike comes free. And this play doesn't happen if our defensive end doesn't peel. And so trusting that our defensive end will do his job and will peel off of it. So it's really, really exciting to see that they do that stuff each and every time. All right, and I put this one up here because this one is just being creative and trusting it. We're all gapped up, even though it looks funny. We got a edge rusher, we got our B gap rusher, A gap rusher, A gap rusher, B gap rusher. He is going to be the C gap, and we got D gap and force outside. And because we expected them to slide to the field, they should be fine here, but they make a mistake, and Dallas McCray gets an easy sack. So just being creative and letting our guys play. You know, when you do that, the guys have a lot of fun. But it doesn't always work. You know, North Central catches us, right? We bring that 4th man to create that 4-man pressure, and we're playing our quarter stuff. But they hit us on our crosser. Our Mike doesn't match the 4 strong, and he's out the gate. And it ends up being a 53-yard gain, right? So, again, if we don't play with the discipline, technique, and effort we're supposed to on 3rd down, it's not going to work. Against St. John, same deal, right? This is the biggest 3rd down play of the first half. If we get this 3rd down stop, they have to go for it on a 4th and long, or they're going to have to take a long field goal attempt, right? Our Sam linebacker just doesn't do his job. He's way too anxious and is on top of the slant route when if he didn't even move from his initial stance, the slant runs into him and he has to force it to throw it out to number 1. But again, just not doing our job. So again, re-emphasizing and reiterating to our guys that it's about the discipline, technique, and effort part. And same deal. I mean, we're just too anxious. Corey Kennedy in the tight, you can see his pursuit is supposed to be banana, you know, down and in. He is way too lateral over the top. And on this zone read here concept, our force player forces it inside, but because Corey doesn't do his job, he's out the gate for a big play. And so, again, just reiterating to those guys, discipline, technique, effort, even on 3rd down is very, very important. And then this is just the last clip I believe I have. We're running appeal. Bad call, 3rd and 2, shouldn't have done it. Should have just played more coverage like I had shared earlier about treating it like 1st and 2nd down. And they slip it, just a little 1-man slip screen, and they get out the gate. What I love about this is River, number 90, comes off the field and says, Coach, I was too aggressive. I was too anxious. I should have been more patient on the back. And I said, no, River, that's my fault. That's a terrible call. I should have just played true cover 0 if I wanted the pressure, or played our base stuff and just allowed you to go, right? But that shows the culture piece, that our guys understand that, hey, I made the mistake and they're owning it. Now, as coaches, it's also our responsibility to say, no, dude, that was a terrible call. I shouldn't have put you in that position. But when you have that type of communication with guys, it's definitely fascinating and powerful to see and have. So that's kind of what we do. It goes back to the discipline, technique, and effort part. and just fighting like crazy every single play, but winning first and second down with your base stuff, and then obviously being creative on third down. I think brings a lot of excitement to your team because they get to see some new stuff each and every week that you like for the matchup for that Saturday.
Good stuff, CJ. I got a couple questions for you. Do you use I think you had them labeled bad ball. Do you have cut-ups like that every Sunday or Monday when you meet, so you're able to? That's how you drive home the discipline, technique, effort stuff.
Yeah. So every single Monday, we go through a good ball cut up. I think it's very, very important to not only show the bad ball, but to show the good ball. So when you have great examples of discipline, technique, and effort and how it fits together, is just as powerful and as great of a reinforcement as the bad ball. But yeah, both cut ups. Typically, we do it after every single practice too, and fall camp and spring ball. But during the season, after every game.
Gotcha. I think probably the past 2 years I've seen a big kind of offensive shift to using nub tight ends, whether it's trips or twins with a sniffer or whatever, with the nub tight end away from it. Why do you think that is? Why are offensive coordinators using that so often?
I think for two main reasons. One, it's determining that, hey, we still got a great run strength, and it also determines that we feel like we got a good passing strength on the opposite side. And so it usually puts your, especially if you're a two-level call system team like most Reed Quarters teams are, it kind of puts those second-level players in weird positions because the Sam is playing to the field side, but he's away from the run strength. And so now you're putting your corner or your safety as your run strength player. Like I was showing here, we had times where we had to put a corner as the run strength force player. And so it really just kind of forces you to make a decision. Am I going to play strong to that nub tight end and rotate to that side, or am I going to play strong to the multiple receiver side and rotate to that side? When you have a corner that can able to be the force player, it allows you to rotate to the multiple receiver side. But if you don't have that corner, you're going to have to rotate to that nub side so you get the safety and the run fit, and now you're giving up some type of field flat in the pass concept. And so it just really puts you in a bind, especially if you have that two-level system that a lot of Reed Quarters teams have.
Yeah, gotcha. And when you do your pursuit period, are you mixing in some blitzes and pressures during that, or are you playing pretty base during that?
Everything is base. So that's a great question. Everything is base. And so most of it is out of our base Reed Quarters where our safety is the force player. We have mixed it up where we have put the corner as the force player and the safety as the secondary force player. I have thought about doing it in terms of our three match, just so they understand again who the force player is. But because traditionally we've ran so much Reed Quarters, it's always been pursuit drill through the Reed Quarters window.
Gotcha. And just lastly, being a young coordinator at a high level in the CCIW, what are one or two things you've learned just being young and cutting your teeth that way?
Surrounding yourself with the right people is the most important thing. And I was fortunate enough, I kind of touched up on that. I went to a great high school in West Michigan and played for one of the best, if not the best, high school coach in the state of Michigan, and John Swartz. And so being around him my whole life as a football player is very, very important in my development. Same thing with my dad being a high school coach and just being able to learn from them. But one of the reasons I went to Wheaton was to get around Coach Slider as a player, and then being around guys like Jordan Langs, being around his dad as well, and Kevin Langs, and understanding how to teach. And so when I had the opportunity to come back, I felt very, very prepared because I was surrounded by great people that helped develop me as a teacher, as a communicator, and all those areas, which kind of leads to the second thing. You got to be able to teach. Too many coaches nowadays want to focus so much on X's and O's and schemes and the pretty stuff. But if you can't teach it, if you can't simplify it, your guys aren't going to understand it. So I believe that's a big one, is people and teaching. Can you do those two things? It's going to help you.
Yeah, and I lied. I got one more. What did you learn about your players and yourself being humble and being able to admit your mistakes with guys on the sideline? I think that's something that doesn't get talked about enough. But I mean, I think being humble is one of the most underrated parts of leadership. So being able to talk, I mean, share with us a little bit about what you learned from, taking that approach.
I think it's kind of probably 2 or 3 things. And I'm kind of working through this right now, but I've been around guys that have admitted their mistakes openly. And so obviously that helped me understand that that's a part of leadership. I have a fantastic wife, and just yesterday when we were on our walk and I was talking through some of the things, even just talking about the clinic, and her feedback on, hey, don't press this too much, don't exaggerate, and at times don't be too arrogant. Like, hey, you're being too arrogant here, and that helps out a ton. And for her to be very understanding but very conscious of that helps. And then that kind of translated into this year when I became a coordinator. One of the things I told our defensive GA was like, hey, Andrew, one of your assignments I want for you is, if something sounds stupid or ridiculous or just out there, tell me to calm down and relax. And if I'm getting too fired up, same thing. You have all the permission in the world to tell me to relax. And so probably that has helped me the most. And then I have the relationships with the guys. I think I came in being very diligent about developing relationships with every single player on the defense and understanding how they tick, how I tick. And so once I had that relationship and just the freedom to say, hey, River, that's my fault. That was stupid. I shouldn't have done that. Or be able to challenge them in the same way. Hey, River, that you got to make that play, or Dallas McCray, you got to make that play. And so it's being surrounded by those people, having a wife that is awesome, empowering a GA to do that. And then obviously the relationships.
Awesome. Thanks a lot, CJ. Appreciate you taking the time to join us.
Absolutely. Absolutely, Doug. Thank you for all you do. It's great content. And I know I love reading the articles, and the videos are definitely been a positive thing during this time.
Thanks a lot.
All right.